Finally, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello now has a deputy 2 weeks after he was sworn in. Simon Achuba was screened and confirmed by the State House of Assembly earlier this week. Good evening. Thank you so much for staying tuned and welcome to tonight's edition of Political Updates. I am Sunmbo. Modupe. We also bring you details about the 2016 budget at the Senate. Please stay tuned. 2 weeks ago, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello was sworn in without a deputy following James Faleke's refusal over his substitution as deputy governor by the All Progressives Congress after the governorship candidate in the election, Abubakar Audu, died a day after the governorship election. The election was declared inconclusive by INEC with a supplementary election scheduled for a later date. After the party was mandated to replace late Audu, it chose Bello as its substitute, a decision rejected by Faleke, who is seeking redress at the court. Earlier this week, Simon Achuba was unanimously confirmed by members of the State Assembly following Governor Bello's letter seeking his confirmation as his deputy. Achuba, 52, hails from Ibaji local government area of Kogi East Senatorial District, a two-term House of Assembly member between 1999 and 2007, and a former deputy speaker in his second term. He decamped from PDP last year. Although Section 191 subsection 3C states that where the office of the deputy governor becomes vacant for whatever reason, the governor shall nominate and with the approval of the House of Assembly of the state, appoint a new deputy governor. Followers of events in the state have questioned the legality of his emergence with respect to pending litigations.
The Constitution recognizes a joint ticket of Audu and Faleke, and when Audu passed on, that ticket shifted on Faleke. Faleke, from my own point of view, from my own understanding of the Constitution, Faleke is the right person to inherit the votes won by Audu before he passed on. As the governor of Kogi State, is absolutely unconstitutional. The unconstitutionality does not consist in the fact that no deputy was sworn in along with Bello. The unconstitutionality of Bello as governor of Kogi State lies in the fact that when he was nominated as the governorship candidate, he had no deputy. Faleke that he nominated publicly rejected his nomination as deputy to Bello.
The government is false, it's full of falsehood, and it will collapse. It's a question of time. The case is before the judiciary. And we are very optimistic that justice will be given and justice will be served. And Honorable Abiodun Faleke will be sworn in as the duly elected governor of Kogi State. Then the judiciary also will say and tell us the process of swearing in a deputy for him, because everything must be followed constitutionally. And it's a pity that our constitution is silent on this kind of harakiri. And once these things are going on, it behoves on the Supreme Court to give a way forward on how things be administered. So we are not in a hurry. We are before the law court and justice will be served.
Political updates will bring you events as they unfold.
The National Assembly last year assured Nigerians a speedy passage of the budget when President Muhammadu Buhari presented the 2016 budget. In the last 2 weeks, government ministries, departments and agencies have been visiting the National Assembly to defend their 2016 budget proposals. Unexpectedly, the two chambers declared that the 2016 budget was full of errors, adding that the documents could no longer be passed on February 25 as earlier promised. This new development was made known at a joint press conference chaired by Senator Danjuma Goje, chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, and Abdul Munin Jibrin, chairman House Representatives Committee on Appropriation in Abuja. The two lawmakers said the National Assembly observed during the ongoing budget defense that ongoing ministries have padded their budgets, and because of this, lawmakers require more time to thoroughly work on the budget.
Even the executive arm of government, they've also come out to accept the fact that there's been a lot of errors in the budget. And during the budget defense, a lot of issues of padding of the budget that has to do with overhead. In some instances, cases of over-bloated personnel, the timetable date for the passage of the budget is no longer realistic.
We want to remove all ambiguities. We want to remove all pardons. We want to produce a budget that is clean, that is in line with what the Constitution says.
The National Assembly has, however, not come out with a new date when the 2016 budget will be passed.
The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Mr. Darius Ishaku of the People's Democratic Party as governor of Taraba State. In a unanimous judgment, the 7-man bench of the Apex Court affirmed Ishaku's election after dismissing the appeal filed against him by the All Progressive Congress governorship candidate in the April 11, 2015 poll, Aisha Alhassan. Alhassan, now Minister of Women Affairs, had won at the Taraba State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, which sat in Abuja, with a Danladi Abubakar-led tribunal, ordering Ishaku's removal and directing that the APC candidate be issued with a fresh certificate of return and be sworn in as governor of the state. The tribunal's judgment was based on alleged non-compliance of the conduct of PDP's primary, from which Ishaku emerged as the party's governorship candidate, with provisions of Section 85 and 87 of the Electoral Act. Ishaku had appealed against the tribunal's decision. The Court of Appeal ruled in favor of the governor and set aside the judgment of the tribunal on the basis that Alhassan, not being a member of the PDP, lacked the local standing to challenge the validity of the primary, which produced Ishaku as the party's candidate. Alhassan appealed to the Supreme Court, but the 7-man bench of the Apex Court, led by Justice Ibrahim Galadima, affirmed the earlier verdict of the Court of Appeal.
The court has enthroned the merits over technicality and other resort to fanciful points of law. And so this case of justice having been served.
Litigation is not about winning everything. It's about giving your best and expecting the outcome. Don't forget, General Buhari attempted to become president 4 times. At the end of the day, he's not president. So it's not an absolute setback for anybody.
Justice Rhodes Vivo and the rest of the members of the panel are to give the full reasons for their decision on February 22. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has announced the appointment of Senator Walid Jibrin as its acting chairman of the Board of Trustees. The PDP made the decision rising from its 51st meeting of the board in Abuja. The acting BOT chairman will, in a communique, appeal to members of the party to renew their loyalty to the PDP, urge them to support the rebuilding efforts of leaders of the party in order to reposition the PDP ahead of the next general elections.
The BOT advises and supports the current initiative by major stakeholders and all organs of the party towards returning the party to the path of internal democracy and the respect for the rule of law. With the recent development, the Northeast Zone is going to meet to consider some members, should list them.
The Board of Trustees also appealed to the federal government to respect the rule of law in its fights against corruption. That ends tonight's edition of Political Update. Please join us again next week for more updates. I am Sunmbo. Mudupe.